We decided to check what's coming for us with our flashlight. Guess what? It was a dog. The poor thing seemed tired, so we let it stay with us for the night. The next morning we opened the door to let it out. It still hasn't returned. Hopefully it will come back later. Timmy should eat. He needs an extra blanket. He's shivering all the time. Timmy still hasn't rested. Ted is fine. Life is hard for all of us right now, but Dolores is in a good mood today. We hope it'll stay this way. We're feeling pretty optimistic about today's expedition. The only thing left to do is to choose the right person to go outside. Ted left for the surface. We hope he'll be back soon. Timmy's looking very pale. That's not good. He still hasn't rested. He's no longer hungry. Water is all Dolores wants. We were visited by a young woman today. She's on a mission to rescue her twin brother, who went missing after he challenged a local bandit leader for a duel. She said they've been observing us for a while, and they were hoping to visit us together eventually, but then her brother went missing. She asks that we help her reunite with her brother and promises we will not regret it. Who should go outside? I don't trust her. Timmy's hair, he's so sick. And Dolores is just bitchy about it. You motherfucker, why'd you get radiation poisoning? You should have chased it off with the axe. Heading deep into a bandit camp, looking for a fight? These people are completely irresponsible. They do seem friendly, but we just won't take the risk right now. Timmy needs an extra blanket. He's shivering all the time. He still hasn't rested. Dolores is no longer thirsty. We stumbled upon a weird signal when changing radio frequencies. We're pretty sure that behind layers of terrible static and screens, we could hear a voice. A voice speaking in a foreign language. Oh dear, what if it's the Soviets? We should probably listen to it. But what about the children? There's only one child left, so, you know, it's okay. How's Timmy looking at? We were relieved at first when we figured out it wasn't Soviets we heard. Turned out it was Canadians, which isn't that much better. Either way, they're foreigners, and we couldn't understand what they were saying, not a word. How disappointing. Timmy has rested and cured. If there was anything to report about Dolores, this is where it would have been written. Okay, we're both pretty good. We tried to keep track of dates, but they just don't add up. Luckily, Timmy remembered it's his birthday today. We should get him a present. Or a cake. Or both. So it's settled. We're making a soup cake. But what about the gift? We don't know if Timmy is ever going to be a Boy Scout after the apocalypse, but the Scout Handbook is a deadly, spider-killing weapon in his capable hands. He's having fun. Dolores can't remain this thirsty for long. Timmy is good. Well, at least he was. Some door-to-door salesman found his way to our shelter. We remember him from before the apocalypse. He came over with a bunch of leaflets and tried to convince us to join something called Astro Citizen, but we refused. Now he just wants supplies, and he says he will reveal some state secrets to us in return. I don't have extra supplies for you, friggin' door-to-door salesman. As a rule, we don't trust door-to-door salesmen, especially ones who attempt treason. We told him to go back to whatever planet he dropped to Earth from. He got angry and stormed off, mumbling something about how our souls are going to be devoured by alien Lord Izantar. Poor guy, he seemed very confused. Dolores is no longer thirsty. Some water for Timmy would be nice. Barking at our doorstep could only mean one thing. Our dog friend is back. Not caring for hazards of the wasteland, we rushed to open it and there he was. The poor thing seemed tired and starving. Should we share some of our food with him? I like dogs, okay? The dog was back to his former self in under an hour. We don't know what they put in that soup, but man, that stuff is good. We decided the dog needed a name, and the right name for him was Pancake. Come here, Pancake, who's a good boy? Pancake stayed around for a while, but was gone next morning. We can bet he will be back. Timmy is no longer thirsty. If there's anything to report about Dolores, this is where it would be written. We're closed off in a tiny shelter, and our supplies are very limited. If we want to survive, it's time for desperate measures. We know there's a group of elderly people hiding in the ruins of the local retirement home. They must have some supplies, and in our opinion, we need them more. The well-being of your family is the most important thing in the world. Right? No. Robbing innocent people? Absolutely not. We are not savages. We cannot stoop that low. It's important to keep our values even in these troubled times. Especially in these troubled times. Let's set a shining example and leave these poor people alone. Timmy is pretty fatigued. He seems okay. Dolores will not last long without water. She has not eaten for a while. Another broadcast from the military. They said they needed to locate the general area we're in and that they want us to leave specific markings close by. Cards? Again? Guess you have to grab cards in this game or you lose. Oh, Ted is fucked. Damn it, we missed our chance to let the military know. Ted has safely returned from his voyage to the surface. Our need for entertainment took us to the local cinema. A portion of the theater is still standing, including at least one cinema hall. We went in hoping to scavenge something, or at least find some film posters. The cinema had a strict policy of not bringing your own drinks into the movie hall. Seems like somebody broke the rules a little. We found a lot of bottles in the last row of the hall. Some were even full. The only thing left on the ticket booth is the door with a padlock on it. The security here must have been questionable. Someone forgot to take the key out. Under one of the seats, we found a deck of cards. It must have been a really boring movie as somebody felt the need to bring the game to the screening. Lost the rifle. We might have been followed. Ted is hungry, tired, fatigued, and sick. It seems awfully quiet outside. Maybe it's safe, maybe it's not. We won't know until we go out. Better send Dolores out. If we care about the future of our kids, we need to start homeschooling Timmy. Or maybe shelter schooling if the right choice of words these days. We need to provide him with some reading material as soon as possible. The only book we have with us is the Scout Handbook, but it's more than enough to get Timmy reading. He might learn a thing or two along the way. Perfect. Ted's stomach is rumbling. Something should be done about Ted's sickness. He still hasn't recovered energy. Dolores is calm. Timmy is good. We've been preparing for this expedition since yesterday. Gas mask is always a good choice. Dolores is on her way to the surface. Let's hope she'll make it back safe and sound. Something should be done about Ted. Timmy needs water. A sleazy-looking trader carrying an equally scruffy bag on his shoulder paid us a visit. He offered us a simple one-time deal. For just one can of soup, we get the bag and all of its contents. We can't see what's inside, and the trader gives us angry glances every time we take a step towards the mysterious bag. Should we make a deal? No. Our grandparents always told us to never buy anything sight unseen, and we're not about to start now. Gone are the times of yard sales. We can manage with whatever junk is without whatever junk is in that mysterious bag. Something should be done about Ted's sickness. He has rested. Timmy's no longer thirsty. A young lady all dressed in white has visited us today, requesting our aid. Wasting no time, she laid out a plan of what she said is a bandit camp where she claims her twin brother is being held. Seems like the young man was witless enough to challenge the biggest bandit leader to a sword fight. This is like almost the exact same as the last time. We're still not helping you with your weird bandit vendetta. We're not risking our lives for some family drama. They got themselves in trouble, they can get themselves out of it, maybe another time. Ted has recovered. Despite the dire circumstances and all the trouble we're going through, Timmy is being very brave. Hey, it's Pancake. Our friend is back, but he seems very nervous and he keeps barking and jumping. When we opened the door, he rushed out only to come back a moment later and bark at us again. Maybe we should follow him? What gear should we take? Take the map. A well-prepared hiker always takes a map. That's what we always say. Thanks to our trusty atlas, we were able to take a look at the devastation of our town and get back home, or rather our shelter, just in time for dinner. Pancake tagged along for a while, but left before we got back to the bunker. Before we got back, we were able to take a detour and get some cans locked in a car. Good thing we did some reading about car mechanics in the Scout Handbook. Timmy doesn't need much and should eat. Ted is fine. Trader alert, Timmy's salvaged comic books are mostly harmless science fiction pulp. However, some of them don't feature the brave Astro Citizen program astronauts, but cosmonauts. That boy is eating up Soviet propaganda. What a disgrace. Should we banish Timmy to the wasteland for his traitorous ways and dispose of the blasphemous comics? No. Our trainer was a Soviet. May not have been canon, but my voice was Russian. Well, as Russian as I could make it. We graciously allowed Timmy to stay in the shelter despite his actions. We believe in the power of rehabilitation and second chances. Also, we're running out of toilet paper, and these propaganda books will do nicely. We were glad to see Dolores come back safely. We used to visit our local cinema so often that we could travel there blindfolded. It wasn't surprising that this was where our feet took us, almost without involving our brains in the process. When we recognized the sign of the food stand sticking from between the rubble, we were hoping to find some popcorn. There was none, but the tomato dispenser was still working. Yay! Our little trip to the surface might have been spotted and followed. We should be more careful. Ted is thirsty. Timmy needs water. The state of the wasteland remains unknown. All right. That was just telling us to listen to the radio again. Nothing, nothing, and nothing. We could hear nothing but the annoying static. Better luck next time. Dolores needs to eat. Ted and Timmy are fine. We've been preparing for this expedition since yesterday. Timmy, get your ass out there. You're not taking anything with you because I forgot to click on your hand icon. Timmy went out to the wasteland. We don't know what we'll do if he doesn't come back. Dolores has not eaten for a while. Ted's good. Dolores has not been very talkative lately. Should we chat with her and find out what's wrong? Hey, sure. Talking to Dolores helped resolve some of her issues and doubts. She feels better now. Ted needs water. The army is on the radio again. Alright, let's use those cards. The cards are in place. All we need to do is wait for the army to pinpoint our location. That shouldn't take long, we hope. Ted isn't thirsty. Water is all Dolores wants. The last time we went out on an expedition, we noticed an abandoned tank just sitting there out in the open. It looks damaged, but may contain useful supplies. Shall we send someone to investigate? Ted, go check. Dolores is thirsty. All we could find inside the shell of the wrecked tank were some loose rounds of ammunition. We picked them up. Dolores will not survive without water any longer. Ted seems to be doing alright, even though the world has gone to shit. It is horrible to see a friend in pain, but when we saw Pancake whimpering at our doorstep, it was too much. Some bastard shot him, and he's lost a lot of blood. Our only hope is to patch him up and hope for the best. I don't have a med kit. We didn't think anything could be worse than a nuclear bomb dropping on our heads. We were wrong. We buried Pancake next to the shelter, in a nice place right under what used to be our white fence. We had a thought about eating him, but there's some lines you do not cross. Even in the most dire circumstances, you do not eat your friends, even if they're pancakes. Timmy can sneak like a secret agent man, but that might not be enough to avoid the band of raiders camped near our shelter. We can probably assume he isn't coming back. Dolores will not survive without water any longer. Where is water when Ted needs it? Bandits are at the door, promising us the worst fate we can imagine if we don't let them in. It's time to make a stand or surrender. Dolores, the skin's falling off your bones. We didn't think that a small padlock would stop them, but it turned out to be enough to discourage the unknown attackers. It seems that they gave this whole break-in a fair shot, but ultimately gave up and left. Too bad that padlock is in no shape to be used again. We need to think of some other ways to fight off the bandits and other soup-hungry barbarians. We were able to defend our home this time. What if they come back? Ted looks like he's got one foot in the grave. He needs a drink right now. If we only had a few drops of water, we could have avoided what happened. Dolores died of dehydration last night. We're feeling pretty optimistic about today's expedition. The only thing left to do is choose the right person to go outside. Achievement unlocked, one-way ticket. The end. Ted left for the surface. We hope he'll be back soon. It was very unwise of Ted to walk right into the hands of a gang of filthy bandits kept nearby. He is not coming back. Of all places we could have perished, this is probably the best one. Or maybe not. We held out for 46 days. I perished. All because I didn't bring cards.